Hello again and welcome to the Warhammer 40k Imperial Guard list review. Today's list was sent in by Bogdan Yavorenko. I am pretty sure I have mispronounced that, so apologies, Bogdan. But yes, thank you very much for the list, and of course, thank you for your Patreon support. I'm not going to go on and on about it. I just want to say that I do absolutely 100% appreciate the support that you have given the channel. I know you've been a relatively long time Patreon supporter, and I just want to say that I do really appreciate your contributions. I know I've said it before, but I'll say it again. The Patreon money really it does helps this channel keep going, and it helps me bring you guys more interesting content. You know, I can use that Patreon money for anything from buying new terrain, getting models for new armies, subsidizing subsidizing armies. I can use it for, paying for tournament tickets. It really is. It's all put into the channel because the tournament, the new terrain goes into the battle reports, the new armies, the new models. That helps me try new things out, and that means more strategies. But those models can also be used on the battle reports to make them look better. Tournament tickets, I haven't done this one yet. I may be doing it. This obviously means I can go to tournaments, I can face the latest sort of meta busting lists and come back with that experience and feed that back into you guys and update the tactical knowledge. So the Patreon money is really appreciated, and hopefully you guys can see I'm very open with it and you can see where the money goes and what I do with it. So, thank you, Bogdan, for your support. Without much more of a fuss, let's get into the list. So, you are sending me a 1,250 Cadian Vehicle Heavy Competitive ITC list. Okay, that is important information. The list is for a local team tournament. There were 2 players with 1,250 points each versus another 2 players, so basically 2,500 versus 2,500. But in general, you would like it to be able to do 1v1 as well. Okay, that's fine. Now, you're using a battalion and a patrol. The tournament says each player gets a patrol and a battalion, and 1 player from the team can replace their battalion with any other detachment. I don't think a brigade is possible at 1,250 points without sacrificing practically all your firepower. Not worth it. So, you have gone for tanks with some infantry support. Okay, let's just take a look at the list. Oh no, one last important thing is you say there's a good chance your partner will be a Harlequin player. I don't really know what we'll be bringing, but hopefully you can shine some light on that. Okay, fine. I'll bear that in mind. I'll look at your list first and then I'll think about how Harlequins would come into it. So, you've taken a Cadian battalion, you've taken Paskin a Punisher with Hull Heavy Bolter, and then you've taken a tank commander with Battle Cannon and Hull Heavy Bolter. Okay, that's pretty good. It's a lot of points. It is a lot of points. But I think it's good. My only concern is Pask in a Punisher is good, and it used to be the go-to tactic. But the thing is that Pask really wants to be staying still. Because if he stays still, then it means he gets to reroll 1s to hit, and he hits on 2s. So it really does help if Pask stays still, because hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s means he's practically going to hit with everything. And you really want to be taking advantage of that, and you probably want to give him a battle cannon. Just because you can use the tank order, pound them into dust, so that you can re-roll the random number of shots for your guns. So that's really useful for Pask, for the battle cannon. And it means you've got a battle cannon which is hitting on 2s, re-rolling 1s to hit. That is going to do some serious anti-tank work and is going to be doing You know, that can kill anything. So battle cannons, we likey. You tank commander with a battle cannon, hull heavy bolter, that's fine. No complaints there. Bit confused about the lack of sponsons. I guess it's only 1250 points, but I would have thought sponsons would be a good idea. But we'll see. You've then taken, in your Cadian battalion, 3 squads of infantry with mortars. Okay, now I know why you've done this, because in ITC, correct me if I'm wrong, but they count like the bottom level of ruins as being completely line of sight blocking. So you've taken mortars to get around that. I actually think that's a good idea. Keeps you know, your infantry squads are to screen. You've already made that clear, but it also means that it also means that they'll be able to contribute to the fight by ignoring line of sight. Now going on to the next bit, you've taken 2 squads of basilisks in your heavy support, and each squadron has 2 basilisks with hull heavy bolts. So that's 4 basilisks. Wow. That is some serious firepower, that is. That is some serious firepower. I think it's quite interesting. I'm not going to actually say that's bad. I'm going to say that's it's interesting. I'm a big fan of basilisks, and the fact that you can stay still and get reroll ones to hit, that means those basilisks could be doing some serious work. Okay. You've then taken a Cadian patrol, and you've taken a company commander. You've given him a plasma pistol, Grand Strategist, Kurlov's Aquila, possible lost relic of Cadia for 1 command point. Okay. Then you've taken that's fine. I mean, I wouldn't bother with the plasma pistol. Then you've taken 2 troop squads with mortar, and then you've taken another Lehman Russ with battle cannon and hull heavy bolter. Okay, my question is, why have you bothered with the patrol? You could fit all this. The patrol doesn't give you any extra command points. It gives you nothing. It's pointless. But you could take 3 HQs in a battalion, and you can take 6 troops in a battalion, and you can take 3 heavy support in a battalion. So you don't need the Cadian, you don't need the patrol. I think it just complicates things. I wouldn't bother with it. Unless I'm missing something. Maybe I am completely missing something. You're not gaining anything. You're not losing anything. You're not gaining anything. So, that's just something to consider. Overall, I quite like the list. Okay. It's a lot of firepower. And it plays well to ITC. And there's no wasted points apart from that 1 plasma pistol. Okay. No wasted points apart from the 1 plasma pistol. Now, having said that, it doesn't really feel like you have enough infantry to screen your tanks effectively. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 vehicles. Okay. 7 vehicles is going to be tough to provide a real screen. You've only got 1 company commander as well, and you say you've gone for like a command point farm with, Kurlov's Aquila and Grand Strategist. Yeah, I kind of get that. Yeah, I kind of get that, but still, you've got 5 squads of infantry. You've only got 1 company commander. That's going to be tricky, orders wise. Also, what you kind of have to remember is basilisks can't receive any bonuses from orders, so they're good, but they're fragile. The enemy won't struggle to kill basilisks at all. They're like toughness 6. They're not toughness 7. They're toughness 6. However, there is one thing to be taken into consideration here, and that is the Harlequins. Now, I don't know what the Harlequin list is. Okay. but whenever I've faced Harlequins, it's always been an aggressive, melee-focused army. They're going to get into close combat, and they're going to get into close combat quickly. But the number one problem Harlequins have is they're fragile, and when they hit the enemy, they can bounce off. Now, I think Harlequin, if your opponent takes a aggressive, fast-moving, in your opponent's face list, I think this would pair well nicely with it. Because you're not going to need a huge screen. You're going to need to be able to screen all your tanks to stop any cheeky deep strikers. But hopefully the enemy will be focused, at least for 2 turns, on killing off the Harlequins. And that gives you 2 turns, roughly, of unmolested firepower. You should be able to do a lot of damage with that. The Harlequin player is going to be relying on you on doing significant damage. Also, you know, to keep both of you in the game, he's buying you turns with his lives. He's going to be doing that. And B, on the off chance all the Harlequins aren't brutally murdered, he's going to rely on you to have to soften the enemy up. Because if he's charging into 2,500 points, because that's what he's doing when he's going off on his own, he's going to need that 2,500 points to be softened up. So you're going to have to your work cut out overtime. But I think it could work. I think the list could work very nicely. He provide, you know, or if the 2 of you are facing an army that's going to be coming to you like an aggressive army, you can both stay back for a turn or 2, absolutely do as much damage via firepower as possible, and then the Harlequins could act as a counter-attack unit. Harlequin players tend to need to be reined in. They will go nuts and charge at the enemy. You kind of have to remind them, dude, do we need to charge them this turn? Or can we get a turn of serious Dakar in there and soften them up? Now maybe the mission will come up where you have to get into his face turn 1, you release the Harlequin player. But maybe you need to be the voice of reason, and maybe you'll have to say to the Harlequin player, look, I know you want to go charging off, but you're just going to die if you go in there. Give me 2 turns, or just give me 1 turn to soften them up. So you can either have Harlequins as an attack or a counter-attack force. The only other thing I would consider, and I'm not going to write like a full list out for us, but you could, if you are going with Harlequins, you could take a complementary army, where he's taking fast, hard-hitting, aggressive, close combat. You take something similar. Take some kind of armoured fist army. You know, we're talking veterans in chimeras or infantry squads in chimeras. Because he's going to be hitting the enemy quickly. You're going to have to keep pace. You know, Scions could work very nicely. Scions with Harlequins, it's almost like the ultimate glass hammer army. Because he's going to be really hard hitting but really fragile, and so are you. Scions, you could deploy, you could have your army in sort of 2 or 3 waves. You know, you've got 1 wave that's deep striking in, you can have some Taurox primes with some Dakar. You know, go and have a look at my 1,000 point battle report. I believe it's 1,000 points, where it's Scions versus Space Marines. So you'd have 250 points on top of that to play around with. My Scions were split into 3 forces: Drop Alpha, Drop Beta, and Ground Assault. And Drop Alpha came in, did significant damage, whilst the ground forces rolled up, did a lot more damage, and then Drop Zone Beta came in, my second punch, and finished the enemy off. You could do something very similar with the Harlequins. You could drop 1 wave in, soften the enemy up, and allow the Harlequins and your Ground Assault Taurox Primes to get in there, churn the enemy up, and when you need to deliver the killing blow, you drop in Drop Zone Beta. Okay, so consider that. Or if you don't have any Scions, you don't have a lot of Scions, just run mechanized, get some Hellhounds in there, get some Chimeras and Tauroxes in there, you know, so that you can, because the problem you might find, is the last thing I want to say, is that whilst you're sat back doing a lot of damage, your opponent just gets killed game after game after game. And you find yourself in this position where, yeah, your opponent might have killed 500, 600 points worth of stuff, But you find yourself in this game where you're playing 1,250 points versus what about 1,800, 2,000 points, and it's an uphill battle. And Harlequins aren't easy to kill and they're expensive, so you might find yourself in that position. So you want to either, really, you're going to have to support, you're going to have really good communication, or you're going to have to chuck this sort of army out and go for a hard-hitting, aggressive, mechanized or scion force and complement the Harlequins. Okay? So, but I think the list is good, by the way. I want to make sure that I made that clear. I think the list is good. I wouldn't really recommend too many changes. I don't know why you've taken the patrol, but whatever. Maybe I'm missing something. I don't know. I'm not so keen on the plasma pistol. I mean, that plasma pistol is what, like 7? Is it 5 or 7 points? I can't remember. But you could take a couple of storm bolters for that, and 2 storm bolters are going to do more than a plasma pistol. Or you could give every single infantry squad a sergeant with a bolt gun. That's going to do more than 1 plasma pistol. So, I hope you have found this video useful and informative. I hope it's given you some ideas for how you're going to play it alongside the Harlequins. Please, Bogdan, please give me, if the tournament comes around, leave a comment or something. Tell me how you go, or send me another email. Tell me how it goes. And, I'm interested to see how the army performs, because a lot of battalists and mass battalists is something really cool. The only thing I would say is maybe consider getting some more screening units. You might need, 70 infantry rather than 50, but that's your choice. Anyway, I hope you found this video useful, and of course, I'll see you guys next time.